Hello and welcome to my video. In this video, I'm going to show how to take a Yamaha PSR E463 keyboard, record a MIDI song, and then transfer that MIDI song into a USB thumb drive, and then import that song into GarageBand on a Macintosh. Let's start with why in the world would I even want to do this? And there are a few reasons, and here they are. Number one, maybe what I want to do is I've come up with this great song and I want to share it with the world. Specifically, I want to upload my song to SoundCloud on the internet. And why? Because there's 175 million people every month that come here and listen to music, and it's all free. So that's a very good reason of why do I need to get my song into a computer. I want to share it with the world. Next, I've recorded this song and I have a friend somewhere else, maybe in another state, maybe in another country, and I want to share my song. So I need to email my MIDI song to a friend. Maybe what I want to do is I've written this great song and I've recorded it, and I want to take that music and make a movie that I want to put up on the internet or on YouTube. So maybe I'll use iMovie and combine beautiful pictures with my music. Maybe what I want to do is I want to burn my song onto a CD. If that's the case, I need to get it into a computer. And the way I'm going to do that is transfer it to a thumb drive and then pull it off the thumb drive into the computer. Maybe what I want to do is I want to transfer my song into my iPhone or my iPad. Or maybe I want to send my MIDI song out to GarageBand on my iPhone or my iPad. Or maybe I have a friend who has an iPhone. So I want to send him my MIDI song and then he can work on it himself and add to it so we could collaborate and share together. Or maybe what I want to do is I want to add more instruments into my song. On my PSR E463, I'm limited to 6 tracks, so I can have a maximum of 6 different instruments. If I can get this MIDI song into GarageBand on my Macintosh, now I have 255 tracks, which is beyond ridiculous. It only takes 32 tracks to record Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. So 255 tracks, that's a lot of tracks. And another reason is I can store thousands of songs on a USB thumb drive. I can only store 10 songs on my E463 keyboard. And I have some thumb drives where I have hundreds of songs that I have performed and recorded and stored. That's probably the number one reason I want to plug a thumb drive into my keyboard. So here's where I'm going with you. In this YouTube, I'll record a song on my Yamaha PSR E463 keyboard as a MIDI song. Then I will transfer that MIDI file into a USB thumb drive, and then I'll plug that thumb drive into a Macintosh and open the song file in GarageBand and edit the song. So that's what you're going to see me do in the rest of this video. So let me go through the steps to record a MIDI song and then transfer it into GarageBand on a Macintosh. And you can write this down if you want to. Number one is insert the thumb drive into the back of your E463 keyboard. That's the very first thing I need to do. Get that thumb drive plugged in. Next, When I'm all set to record my song, I'm going to reach out and press the record, R-E-C, the record button, and then immediately start playing my song. When I stop playing, that song is automatically written or stored into one of the 10 user memory locations on the E463. So when I stop, my MIDI song automatically gets saved into my keyboard. Then I'm going to reach out and press and hold the function button. Then I will use the category buttons and cycle through, and I'm looking for the words save SMF, which means standard MIDI file. That's what I'm looking for. That's how I'm going to save this MIDI song from the keyboard out to the thumb drive. Once I've done that, then I'm going to press the execute button 4 times. Click, 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 4 times to actually store the song out into the USB thumb drive. Then I'll take that thumb drive and I will insert it into my Macintosh, and I'll load the song into the Mac. And then finally, I'll launch GarageBand on my Macintosh, and I'll drag and drop the song file into GarageBand. So that's what you're going to see me do. Let's go do it. By the way, if you still have your owner's manual for your E463 keyboards, on page 73 and 74, you will find these instructions that I've just listed here. But let's be honest, nobody reads the manual. So let's go to the keyboard and do all of this. Okay, here I am at the PSR E463 keyboard, and I've set up a little piano style. So that's the little melody that I'm going to play. It's not a real song. That way I don't have to worry about copyright violations on my YouTube. So here's the process. I'm going to reach out and press the record button, and then I'll start playing the song. When I stop, you're going to see my screen say writing. And what it will do is it will write or store that MIDI song I've just played and save it in the internal memory of my keyboard. Then I'll call up the function button, and I will choose Save SMF, which stands for Save Standard MIDI Format, and I'll end up pressing the execute button 4 times, and that is the process that it takes to take the MIDI song that is sitting in the memory here and transfer it out to the thumb drive. Okay, that's where I'm going. So step number 1 is I'm going to press record. I'll play just a little bit of a melody, just enough so we have something to work with, and we'll take it from there. Here we go. I'm pressing the record button. Click. And it says record. I hit stop, and my screen says writing. That's another way of saying storing. So what it's doing is it's writing or storing that MIDI song in the internal memory of my keyboard. Okay? It's there. I can play it. Here it is. I just hit the play button. Okay? Now what I want to do is I want to transfer it from the memory into the USB thumb drive that I've got plugged in the back. So I come over here and I hit the function button. And I'm going to use the category buttons. And I'm looking for Save SMF. Save the standard MIDI format or file. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the execute button 4 times to get it to save it out. And I'll be watching my screen each time. So here we go. Execute, click, execute, click, execute, click, and it says save OK. One more time, execute, click, and now it says saving. So I just kept hitting that execute button 4 times, and I'm watching my screen. It is now saving that MIDI file from the memory of my keyboard out to that thumb drive. And I don't know if you noticed it, but it said complete. The message complete flashed on the screen. So it's done. I recorded a MIDI song. It went in the memory here. Then I transferred it from the memory of my keyboard into the thumb drive. So now what I'm going to do is reach out and grab this thumb drive. And I'm going to take this over and plug it into my Macintosh. So the next video you'll see is I'll record the screen of my Macintosh so you can see how I plug this in, transfer the file into the Mac, then I'll open up GarageBand on my Macintosh and I will drag this MIDI song into GarageBand where I can work on it. So let's take this over to the Mac. Here we are back at my Macintosh, and here is the thumb drive that I had plugged into my E463 keyboard. First thing I'm going to do is open up this thumb drive, click, and there's a folder in here called Users Folders. This is the way my E463 keyboard stored that file. So I'm going to open up this folder, click, and inside there is a file called song001.mid. This is my MIDI song that you saw me record. So I'm going to pick that up with my mouse and just drop it out here on my desktop. Here it is right here. Now I'm going to open up GarageBand. Okay, and I just have a blank project. So now the question is, how do I get this MIDI file into GarageBand? It's really simple. Watch this. I'm going to pick this up with my mouse, drag it over here into GarageBand, and let go. Click. And a few seconds later, voila, here it is. Here is my MIDI song. Now it's inside GarageBand that I just recorded on my keyboard. And let me go up here and just play a little bit of it. Okay, now this is not a YouTube on GarageBand, but I want to do just one or two things. Down here is the main melody, and let me solo this. And let's back it up. So here's the main melody being played by a Steinway grand piano. So what I'm going to do is let's turn that into an organ. So I've chosen B3 organ and I want a classic rock. So now instead of a piano, listen to what I've got. Play. a B3 organ. All right, let's see, what else can I play around? Now, here's a guitar. I'm going to solo it. Okay, let's change that guitar to, let's change that to a classical acoustic guitar. Okay, so now this is what it sounds like. Oops, didn't get it. Here we go. All right, let me back up, start it again. Turn it up. Okay, so now if we start over, we've got something that sounds a little different. And I've also turned the organ into a guitar. So we could play around with this. This is an entire audio recording studio, folks. I mean, if you don't know what GarageBand is, do yourself a favor, download it and play around with it. So I'm coming up here to the share, and this is how I can send it into iTunes, and here is how I can send it to SoundCloud on the internet. Now, I already have a SoundCloud account all set up. I've got, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 9 songs in SoundCloud. But my point is, I'm just one mouse click away from taking my song and putting it up on SoundCloud, where 175 million people every month can listen to it. I'm not going to do that. Some of the other things here is I can mail this. So it says, do you want to send this as a song, or do you want to send this as a GarageBand project? So what this lets me do is I could say, you know, send this thing as a GarageBand project, and I'm going to send it to a friend who also has GarageBand running on his iPad, and he can go in and add instruments to my recording. So this is a way for me to collaborate and share back and forth by sending our work back and forth amongst ourselves. So that's another reason to use it. Or I can say, you know what, just take this MIDI file, and I want to save this out as a sound file. And here are 4 ways that I can save this. ACC, the good old standard MP3 sound file, an AIFF or a WAV, and I can also control what quality of audio recording. So this says, look, I know it's MIDI, but I want to turn it back into a sound file, and GarageBand lets me do this. So this is GarageBand. Once I've got that MIDI file in here, I can do wondrous things to it. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been helpful. If it has, leave me a contact message. And thank you for watching.